Hey guys,
Hello,
this
everyone.
is day 32
32.
with a Bible a year
First
of February.
Of February, yeah.
And day 32, Bible in a year.
So we have Exodus 13 and 14, Mark chapter 14, verses 22 to 72, and Mark chapter 15, verses 1 through 15. And I did not even go and mark those pages.
I love the Sonic 3 movie.
We went this evening to see Sonic Part 3.
Sonic 3.
And it was pretty cool. I don't know how many Sonic fans are out there, but it was pretty cool. It's a pretty fun movie. Mark. And then we went out to get fast food, which we don't usually do. And I could not finish my hamburger because I just felt like sick. Now I feel really sick after eating it. I don't know how people go out and eat fast food like all the time. Ugh. Just hurts my stomach. Some people, I guess, have good stomachs.
The only thing I got was a headache, not stomach ache.
Oh, I feel really gross.
That's it. I only feel pain on this side.
I feel really gross. Okay, so let's see.
Note to self: never get Carl's Jr. or this.
Right.
Look at it. Look how tiny that looks.
It's that Oreo thing from Subway, which we could not even. I just had a few tastes
of
it.
And it's marshmallow.
It's like a thin little. It's disgusting.
It's marshmallow.
It's from Subway. It's a foot long Oreo thing, and it was $5. And Ariel was begging me to get it. I'm like, I don't want to get it,
and I regret it.
And so now we ate like a few little bites, and it's disgusting. Don't ever get the Subway Oreo.
Don't
thing.
Get it.
All the sandwiches there used to be $5. Do you guys remember that of the commercial $5 foot long? We walked in there, and I'm like, they're $15 for a Subway sandwich. Are you serious? This is why we don't eat out. This is like costs like 3 times as much, and then you feel like crap afterwards. Why would you do that to yourself? Okay, we're done with that. Okay, Exodus chapter 13.
Mm-hmm.
The firstborn consecrated. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Consecrate to me all the firstborn. Whatever opens the womb among the children of Israel, both man and beast, it is mine." The feast of unleavened bread. And Moses said to the people, "Remember this day in which you went out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, for by strength of hand the Lord brought you out of this place. No leavened bread shall be eaten. On this day you are going out in the month of Abib. And it shall be when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall keep this service in this month. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day there shall be a feast to the Lord. Unleavened bread shall be eaten 7 days, and no leavened bread shall be seen among you, nor shall leaven be seen among you in all your quarters. And you shall tell your son in that day, saying, "This is done because of what the Lord did for me when I came up from Egypt." It shall be as a sign to you on your hand and as a memorial between your eyes, that the Lord's law may be in your mouth. For with a strong hand the Lord has brought you out of Egypt. You shall therefore keep this ordinance in its season from year to year, the law of the firstborn. And it shall be when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, and he swore to you and your fathers, and gives it to you, that you shall set apart to the Lord all that open the womb, that is, every firstborn that comes from an animal which you have, the males shall be the Lord's. But every firstborn of a donkey you shall redeem with a lamb, and if you will not redeem it, then you shall break its neck. Oh. And all the firstborn of man among your sons you shall redeem. So it shall be when your son asks you in the time to come, saying, "What is this?" that you shall say to him, by strength. What the heck? Say to him, "By strength of hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And it came to pass when Pharaoh was stubborn about letting us go, that the Lord killed all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of the beast. Therefore I sacrifice to the Lord all males that open the womb, but all the firstborn of my sons I redeem. It shall be as a sign of a sign on your hand, and as frontlets between your eyes, for by strength of hand the Lord brought us out of Egypt. The wilderness way. Then it came to pass when Pharaoh had let the people go that God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near, for God said, lest perhaps the people change their minds when they see war and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up in orderly ranks out of the land of Egypt. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had placed the children of Israel under solemn oath, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here with you. So they took their journey from Succoth and camped in Etham at the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night. He did not take away the pillar of cloud by day or the pillar of fire by night from before the people. Chapter 14. The Red Sea crossing. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel that they turn and camp before Pi Hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, opposite Baal Zephon, and shall camp before it by the sea. For Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, they are bewildered by the land. The wilderness has closed them in. Then I will harden Pharaoh's heart so that he will pursue them, and I will gain honor over Pharaoh and over all his army, that the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord. And they did so. Now it was told the king of Egypt that the people had fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people. And they said, Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? So he made ready his chariot and took his people with him. Oh my God, this guy, they put plagues on this guy. And so he, like so many times, and he keeps changing his mind. Okay, you can go, you can't go, you can go, you can't go. So finally he let him go. And then, why did we do this? Oh, okay, let's send chariots to stop him again. Dude,
make up your hecking mind.
Okay, also he took 600 choice chariots and all the chariots of Egypt with captains over every one of them. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. The Lord hardened his heart.
The Lord hardened.
The Lord hardened. It says that so many times here. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh of Egypt, and he pursued the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went out with boldness. So the Egyptians pursued them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, his horsemen, and his army, and overtook them camping by the sea beside Pi Hahiroth, before Baal Zephon. Notice they said army. Said army right there.
Army?
Said army right there.
Pharaoh?
Army. And his army.
You're not thinking about Alexa, are you?
I think about him every minute of every day. Okay. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. So they were very afraid. And the children of Israel cried out to the Lord. Then they said to Moses, Because there were no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you so dealt with us to bring us up out of Egypt? Is this not the word that we told you in Egypt, saying, Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. Dang. And Moses, they're ungrateful. And Moses said to the people, Do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall see again no more forever. No more forever. Okay. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. And the Lord said to Moses, Why do you cry to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward. But lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, and the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I indeed will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. So I will regain honor over Pharaoh and over all his army, his chariots, and his horsemen. Then the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord when I have gained honor for myself over Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. And the angel of God who went before the camp of Israel moved and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud went from before them and stood behind them. So it came between the camp of Egyptians and the camp of Israel. Thus it was a cloud and darkness to the one, and it gave light by night to the other, so that the one did not come near the other all that night. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea into dry land, and the waters were divided. So the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on the dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went after them into the midst of the sea, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. Now it came to pass in the morning watch that the Lord looked down upon the army of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and clouds, and he troubled the army of the Egyptians. And he took off their chariot wheels, so they drove them with difficulty. He took off the wheels. And the Egyptians said, "Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, that the waters may come back upon the Egyptians, on their chariots and on their horsemen." And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and when the morning appeared, the sea returned to its full depth, while the Egyptians were fleeing into it. So the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. Then the waters returned and covered the chariots, the horsemen, and all the army of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. Not so much as one of them remained. But the children of Israel had walked on dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. So the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. Oh, that's sad. Thus Israel saw the great work which the Lord had done in Egypt. So the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. Okay, that's 14. So now we need Mark chapter 14. Mark 14, 66 to 22. Mark 14, 66. Is it the next page? 14, 66. 66 to 72. Okay, that's the rest of the one. Okay, 66. Peter denies Jesus and weeps. Oh, that's sad. Now, as Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came, and when she saw Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, "You also were with Jesus of Nazareth." But he denied it, saying, "I neither know nor understand what you are saying." And he went out on the porch, and the rooster crowed. Oh. So he realized he denied Jesus. And the servant girl saw him again and began to say those words, to those who stood by, "This is one of them." But he denied it again. And a little later, those who stood by said to Peter again, "Surely you are one of them, for you are a Galilean, and your speech shows it." Then he began to curse and swear, "I do not know this man of whom you speak." A second time the rooster crowed. Then Peter called to mind the word that Jesus had said to him, "Before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times." And when he thought about it, he wept. So he realized Jesus was right. They told you.
They told you so,
They
boy.
told you. Okay.
I said boy, my bad.
Jesus faces Pilate, chapter 15, Mark chapter 15. Immediately in the morning, the chief priests held a consultation with the elders and scribes and the whole council, and they bound Jesus, led him away, and delivered him to Pilate. Then Pilate asked him, "The king of the Jews, the king of the Jews? Are you the king of the Jews?" He answered and said to him, "It is as you say." And the chief priest accused him of many things, but he answered nothing. Then Pilate asked him again, saying, "Do you answer nothing? See how many things they testify against you?" But Jesus still answered nothing, so that Pilate marveled. Taking the place of Barabbas. Now at the feast, he was accustomed to releasing one prisoner to them, whomever they requested. And there was one named Barabbas, who was chained with his fellow rebels. They had committed murder in the rebellion. Then the multitude, crying aloud, began to ask him to do just as he had always done for them. But Pilate answered them, saying, "Do you want me to release the king of the Jews?" For he knew that the chief priests had handed him over because of envy. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd, so that he should rather release Barabbas to them. Pilate answered and said to them again, "What then do you want me to do with him whom you call the King of the Jews?" So they cried out again, "Crucify him!" Then Pilate said to them, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they cried out all the more, "Crucify him!" So Pilate, wanting to gratify the crowd, released Barabbas to them, and he delivered Jesus after he had scourged him to be crucified. Scourged him. That means they whipped him a lot.
Okay, wait now. Okay, before we do that, we are going to put this right here.
Okay.
Well, wait. Well, that's it, guys, for Bible in a year.
Day 32.
Yes.
See you guys tomorrow for day 33.
Bye.
Bye.